Let's go to Laurie Williams. She's a political science professor at Mount Royal University, joining us today from Calgary to talk some more about Trudeau's nomination. Laurie, thanks for your time.
Oh, it's great to be here with you.
When you are a new leader of a party or of a country, you have that newness to offer, the hope of change. Justin Trudeau's not so new anymore. Has he retained his support?
Well, of course, certainly he has some who will support him fairly strongly because those core values that he's talking about are things that many Canadians support. But there are a lot of voters who will move their support from one party or one leader to another, depending on how they perform. And of course, the longer that you've been in office, the more disappointments that people have to look at, and the more they're willing to look elsewhere.
One of the big disappointments, of course, for some would be the support of the pipeline out west. That did frustrate some of his core supporters. Has he done what he can with that particular issue?
Well, what he's claiming to do is to try to balance between the economic growth and health of Canada and its environmental health. And of course, he has invested in new programs, some think not enough, but new programs with respect to protecting the oceans. And of course, there's that climate plan that he's put a price on carbon, and he wants to make that a federal price or a federal policy, if you like. But of course, he is being challenged on that from Saskatchewan with the support of Jason Kenney, who's the leader of the opposition here in Alberta, and of course from Doug Ford in Ontario. So that might be something that he's going to struggle with, but it may be something he can contest in the coming election. It might be something he can move forward with. But for him, there's a connection between that policy and the pipeline. In other words, it's not like the pipeline means that there's less environmental protection. That's actually connected to, or a bigger part of that bigger picture for environmental protection. And on a net basis, he's hoping to reduce overall emissions.
Laurie, let me also ask you about the message of diversity, which we heard again today, which others are trying to sort of pick apart over time. Does that message still hold with people, Canadians? Does he need to change his message and have a different or new message ahead of 2019?
Well, I think it's an important message. It certainly was very important. It's core to certainly his government, to his campaign leading into being elected for government. And of course, it was part of his opposition to Stephen Harper's party and some of the people within that party that were expressing extremist views. Given the sorts of things that Maxime Bernier is saying currently and his apparent challenge to Andrew Scheer, if Andrew Scheer is not very successful at contesting against Justin Trudeau, some people are going to be worried about voting Conservatives for fear that the Maxime Bernier side of the party. So those who support that sort of multicultural acceptance of difference and diversity, those folks are going to be a bit worried about some of the rumblings that continue in the Conservative Party, and he's probably going to be able to capitalize on that. But of course, as we know, some people are worried about too much diversity. That is the immigration problem, too many people coming across the border and becoming difficult, certainly in some areas, to manage that effectively. So even though that was part of the promise, part of the reason people supported Justin Trudeau coming in, it's turned on him a little bit in the sense that immigration has become more difficult to handle or manage than people anticipated at that time. So I think it's going to be a mixed challenge.
And very quickly, Laurie, I do want to ask you, as a takeoff from that, whether you think Andrew Scheer came out against what Maxime Bernier said or tweeted in a strong way, or did he need to be stronger about that if he wants people to think of the Conservative Party as an open party?
That's going to be, I think, an open question, and this is going to be a real test of Andrew Scheer's leadership, because right now, I think Justin Trudeau, as a leader and somebody who's able to connect to the people of Canada, he's extraordinarily talented at that. Now, that's not all you need. You've got to have substance behind that ability. But Andrew Scheer and Jagmeet Singh are going to be faced with significant challenges in trying to reach Canadians in the way that Justin Trudeau does. And one of the key ways of doing that is to take strong and effective stances against some of the things that are unpopular amongst many Canadians. And so I think it'll be, well, I guess we'll see over time. I don't think a single incident is going to define Andrew Scheer's ability on this one way or the other, or the perceptions people have about it. But I do think he does need to be strong and balanced on this, and probably needs to be a bit more effective at that going into the next election.
Got it. Laurie Williams, got to leave it there, but thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Morella.